Welcome to Conspiracy Theories and Cover-Ups. I'm your host, Ben Carter. Imagine a world where earthquakes, one of nature's most destructive forces, can be controlled and directed at will. This isn't the premise of a dystopian science fiction novel, but a theory that has been gaining traction in the darker corners of the internet and beyond. Some claim that earthquakes are no longer merely natural disasters, but powerful tools in a global game of chess wielded by unseen hands. This is the concept of seismic manipulation, the alleged weaponization of earthquakes. The idea might seem far-fetched, but consider this. Humanity has already demonstrated its ability to influence the weather. Cloud seeding, a process used to increase rainfall, has been widely implemented since the 1940s. If we can manipulate the skies, is it so unthinkable that we might also have a hand in the tremors beneath our feet? To delve into this, we first need to understand what an earthquake is. In essence, it's the release of energy in the Earth's crust that creates seismic waves. These waves make the ground shake, leading to the phenomenon we recognize as an earthquake. This process is usually caused by natural tectonic movements. But what if there was a way to artificially create these conditions? While the mainstream scientific community dismisses the idea, proponents of the seismic manipulation theory argue that certain technological advancements may have made this possible. They point to HAARP, the High-Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, a research program jointly funded by the U.S. Air Force, the U.S. Navy, the University of Alaska, and the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. Though its stated purpose is to study the ionosphere and its potential for improving satellite communications, some believe that it has a more sinister purpose. HAARP's technology can direct a focused, steerable electromagnetic beam into the ionosphere, heating it and causing it to expand. Critics of the program suggest that this capability could potentially be used to manipulate weather patterns, disrupt global communication systems, or even trigger seismic events. However, these claims are controversial and lack direct evidence. Still, it's not just HAARP that's under scrutiny. There are whispers of other similar projects around the globe, veiled in secrecy. Critics argue that these projects are part of a concerning trend towards the militarization of geoscience. They fear that the power to cause earthquakes could be the ultimate weapon, one that leaves no fingerprints and can be easily dismissed as a natural disaster. This is the terrain we find ourselves navigating, a landscape fraught with secrecy, speculation, and fear. The truth, as always, remains elusive. But in a world where the invisible hand of power reaches further and deeper than ever before, the seismic manipulation theory continues to shake the foundations of our understanding. The concept of using earthquakes as a weapon of war is not new. Historically, there have been numerous instances where seismic events have been harnessed, or at least attempted to be harnessed, for military purposes. The concept dates back to ancient times, where legends tell of mystics and shamans who had the power to command the earth to shake and tremble. Fast forward to the 20th century, during the throes of World War II, when the idea of seismic warfare was revisited. The British military developed an operation known as Project Habakkuk. The plan was to create giant, unsinkable aircraft carriers made from a mixture of ice and wood pulp, known as pykrete. These floating islands were to be stationed in the mid-Atlantic, where they would supposedly generate enough seismic activity to detect German U-boats. The project was ultimately abandoned due to the impracticality of the design and the enormous costs involved. In the 1970s, the seismic manipulation theory gained mainstream attention due to the work of Nikola Tesla. The Serbian-American inventor claimed to have developed an earthquake machine, a small mechanical oscillator that, according to him, could match the resonant frequency of a structure, causing it to vibrate violently and eventually collapse. While no concrete proof of this machine's effectiveness exists, Tesla's claims continue to fuel speculation and conspiracy theories to this day. During the Cold War, the fear and paranoia that gripped the world brought the notion of seismic manipulation to the forefront once again. The seismic manipulation theory became intertwined with fears of nuclear warfare, culminating in the signing of the Environmental Modification Convention in 1977. This international treaty explicitly prohibits the military or other hostile use of environmental modification techniques having widespread, long-lasting, or severe effects. Despite the existence of this treaty, fears of seismic manipulation as a form of warfare persist. Some point to the secretive nature of projects like HARP and others around the globe as evidence of ongoing research into the weaponization of earthquakes. Others argue that such fears are largely unfounded, the product of misunderstanding and misinformation. Yet, the political climate and the secrecy surrounding these projects fuel the speculation. The power to trigger an earthquake could be an attractive prospect for those seeking untraceable methods of warfare. The potential devastation caused by a seismic event far surpasses that of conventional weapons, making the stakes incredibly high. In such a climate of fear and uncertainty, the seismic manipulation theory continues to resonate with many, creating ripples that extend far beyond the epicenters of the earthquakes themselves. Among the key figures and organizations tied to the seismic manipulation theory, one name stands out prominently: the High-Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, known as HARP. Based in Alaska, HARP is a research facility primarily funded by the U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA. Officially, HARP investigates ionospheric phenomena, which could improve radio communications and surveillance technology. Yet, its secretive nature, coupled with DARPA's involvement, has led some to believe it's a front for testing seismic weaponry. In 2010, Venezuelan leader Hugo Chavez accused the United States of causing the devastating Haiti earthquake through a tectonic weapon test, further implicating HARP. Although widely dismissed as sensationalist rhetoric, Chavez's claims struck a chord with those already suspicious of the project, adding fuel to the conspiracy theory's fire. In Russia, a similar organization called the Sura Ionospheric Heating Facility has also been the subject of speculation. Similar to HARP, the facility investigates the Earth's ionosphere. Some assert that Sura too could be involved in seismic manipulation, alleging that Russia's tryst with earthquake weaponry parallels that of the United States. Several prominent individuals have also been linked to the seismic manipulation theory. One such figure is Dr. Rosalie Bertell, a renowned environmental activist, scientist, and author. Dr. Bertell suggested that the technology to cause earthquakes and other geological disasters has been developed and may be in use. Dr. Nick Begich, a well-known Alaskan political figure and son of a former U.S. congressman, has been an outspoken critic of HARP. He authored the book Angels Don't Play This HARP, wherein he examines the military applications of the research program, including the potential for seismic manipulation. Lastly, the name of Dr. Mehran Keshe, an Iranian-born nuclear engineer, is often associated with this theory. Keshe has claimed to have developed a plasma reactor that can create earthquakes, a claim that has been met with both intrigue and skepticism. While no concrete evidence supports these allegations, the secretive nature of these projects and the high-stakes implications of seismic manipulation continue to fuel suspicions. Whether these organizations and individuals are truly involved in the weaponization of earthquakes or are simply the subjects of unfounded speculation remains a matter of intense debate. The seismic manipulation theory persists, a chilling testament to the lengths some believe governments and organizations might go in the quest for power. The narrative of seismic manipulation took an alarming turn when a series of unusual earthquakes sparked controversy. In 2008, a 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck Sichuan, China, resulting in immense destruction and loss of life. What caught the attention of conspiracy theorists was the presence of a peculiar light phenomenon in the sky, preceding the earthquake. Some speculated that this was the result of an ionospheric disturbance caused by a seismic weapon, with fingers pointed towards HARP. Another instance that heightened suspicions was the 2010 earthquake in Haiti, which decimated the capital city of Port-au-Prince. A former employee of the U.S. Defense Department, Dr. Stephen Lendman, conjectured that the earthquake was unnaturally induced, possibly by a seismic weapon. He cited the absence of an aftershock and the concentrated damage as indicators of artificial manipulation. Information leaks have also played a role in bringing the theory of seismic manipulation to public attention. In 2010, a series of documents released by WikiLeaks included diplomatic cables from 2010. One such cable from the U.S. Embassy in Caracas suggested that Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez believed the U.S. was behind the Haiti earthquake. This revelation further stoked the flames of conspiracy, leading many to question the exact capabilities of HAARP and other such facilities. Within the scientific community, a patent granted to Bernard Eastland, a physicist and consultant for ARCO, the company that built HAARP, has been a point of contention. Eastland's patent, filed in 1987, outlines the use of natural ionospheric electric currents for generating electromagnetic radiation. Some interpret this technology as a possible method for seismic manipulation. In 1997, U.S. Secretary of Defense William S. Cohen, during a conference on terrorism, made a startling statement. Others are engaging even in an eco-type of terrorism whereby they can alter the climate, set off earthquakes, volcanoes remotely through the use of electromagnetic waves. While these events and documents don't offer definitive proof of seismic manipulation, they have undoubtedly added layers of complexity to an already controversial theory. The definitive proof of such a conspiracy remains elusive, lost in a labyrinth of scientific jargon, classified information, and geopolitical intrigue. Yet, the theory continues to resonate, a chilling reminder of the potential dark side of technological advancement. Even as the whispers of seismic manipulation became louder, the alleged efforts to suppress and control information around it started to surface. Stories of silenced whistleblippers, vanishing documents, and stifled research began to paint a picture of a conspiracy seemingly larger than the theory itself. One of the most prominent examples involves Dr. Nick Begich, a widely recognized expert on HAARP. Begich has long claimed that attempts have been made to silence him and his research. He alleges that his work has been discredited and dismissed by the mainstream scientific community, with funding for his research mysteriously drying up. Begich is not alone in his allegations of suppression. Many other proponents of the seismic manipulation theory claim that their work has been marginalized, with mainstream media outlets seemingly unwilling to give their theories a platform. These researchers point to the lack of coverage of their findings as evidence of a widespread effort to control the narrative around seismic manipulation. Perhaps the most chilling aspect of this alleged cover-up is the supposed silencing of whistleblowers. Over the years, various insiders from military and scientific communities have come forward with claims of seismic manipulation. These individuals often tell similar stories of intimidation, threats, and even career sabotage aimed at ensuring their silence. One such case revolves around a former HAARP insider who claimed to have witnessed experiments related to seismic manipulation. After coming forward with his allegations, he reported repeated threats to his personal safety and professional reputation. His story, like many others, remains largely hidden from public view, supposedly suppressed by those who would prefer the truth of seismic manipulation to remain shrouded in secrecy. Institutional control over information has also been a significant concern. The U.S. government's classification of certain HAARP-related documents as top secret has fueled speculation. Critics argue that this classification is less about protecting national security and more about hiding evidence of seismic manipulation. These allegations of suppression and control are as controversial as the theory of seismic manipulation itself. They point to a possible concerted effort to control the narrative, silence dissent, and keep the truth hidden. However, like the seismic manipulation theory, these allegations are shrouded in uncertainty, with definitive proof remaining elusive. As we delve deeper into the world of alleged seismic manipulation, the line between fact and fiction continues to blur, leaving us in a state of intriguing uncertainty. Despite the intimidating atmosphere and potential risks, there are those who have refused to be silenced. Over the years, a series of whistleblowers and investigative journalists have emerged, challenging the silence surrounding the alleged seismic manipulation. Dr. Nick Begich, a son of a former U.S. congressman, is one such figure. He has been a prominent critic of HAARP, consistently arguing that it could be capable of more than just ionospheric research. His investigative work has been instrumental in bringing the potential dangers of HAARP to public attention, despite continuous resistance. Another notable whistleblower who surfaced in the early 2000s was a former geophysicist who had worked within the military complex. The individual, who chose to remain anonymous due to safety concerns, claimed to have direct knowledge of seismic manipulation techniques. He alleged that he had been part of a team that was developing and testing technology capable of triggering earthquakes. After bringing his allegations to the public, he reported receiving numerous threats to his life, forcing him to live in secrecy. Similarly, investigative journalist Gary Webb, who had a reputation for challenging government narratives, also touched on the topic of seismic manipulation. In his reports, he questioned the legality and ethics of potentially weaponizing earthquakes, only to face a vicious backlash that ultimately led to the end of his career in mainstream journalism. Besides these, there are countless other less high-profile cases of individuals claiming to have inside knowledge of seismic manipulation programs. Their experiences often echo the same pattern: attempts to bring their knowledge to the public's attention, followed by threats, intimidation, and professional ruin. In a world where information is power, those who hold such potentially explosive knowledge are often faced with a terrible choice: to live in silence or risk everything to speak out. It's a game of high stakes, a silent war waged in the shadows. However, it is thanks to these brave individuals, willing to risk their careers and even their lives, that the seismic manipulation theory continues to surface, refusing to be buried in the annals of forgotten conspiracies. Yet even as these whistleblowers and journalists come forward, the seismic manipulation theory remains on the fringes of public awareness. The alleged suppression continues, and the definitive proof that might vindicate these truth-seekers remains tantalizingly out of reach. As the mystery deepens, the question remains: how much are we not being told? And more importantly, what lengths will some go to ensure that the truth remains hidden? Diving into the realm of declassified documents, we find intriguing evidence that lends weight to the seismic manipulation theory. One such document, dating back to the height of the Cold War, is Project Plowshare. This was a United States program aimed at investigating the peaceful uses of nuclear explosives. The project involved detonating 31 nuclear warheads to test their potential for creating canals, harbors, and even for fracking in oil and gas fields. The project's most infamous test, codenamed Sedan, resulted in a seismic event equivalent to a 5.1 magnitude earthquake. While the project was eventually abandoned due to environmental concerns, it demonstrated unequivocally that human activity could indeed trigger seismic events. Further evidence can be found in an environmental modification treaty signed in 1977, known as NMOD. This international agreement prohibits any military or other hostile use of environmental manipulation techniques. The treaty explicitly mentions earthquakes as one of the potential effects of such manipulation. The existence of this treaty implies a recognition among world powers that the capability to manipulate the environment, and by extension, cause earthquakes, might be within the realm of human achievement. In the early 1990s, the U.S. Secretary of Defense, William Cohen, made a statement that resonates with the seismic manipulation theory. He warned of the possibility of terrorists developing ways to trigger earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and even influence the weather. Cohen's words, while speculative, suggest that the idea of seismic manipulation was being seriously considered within the highest echelons of power. Adding to the intrigue, an unnerving pattern emerges when analyzing the data of seismic events in North Korea. The seismic activity, consistent with nuclear testing, has raised eyebrows among geologists and conspiracy theorists alike. The pattern and magnitude of these seismic events suggest they may not be entirely natural in origin. While the possibility of these being tests of nuclear weapons is the official narrative, the consistent seismic disturbances have led some to speculate about the testing of earthquake-inducing technology. The evidence and testimonies available are certainly compelling, yet they offer no definitive proof of the seismic manipulation theory. They do, however, fuel the fires of speculation, raising disquieting questions about the extent of human capability and the lengths to which some entities might go in pursuit of power. The debate continues, the mystery deepens, and the truth, as always, remains elusive. As the seismic manipulation theory started to gain traction, the societal, media, and public trust fallout was considerable. The narrative of earthquakes being a possible weapon of warfare or political tool was both intriguing and terrifying, leading to a surge of interest from the public. The media, always quick to seize on a captivating story, began to scrutinize seismic events with a newfound intensity. On social media, the theory generated a flurry of discussion, with hashtags like #seismic manipulation trending on Twitter. Facebook groups dedicated to investigating the theory proliferated, drawing in thousands of members from around the world. The public discourse around earthquakes shifted, with each new seismic event prompting a wave of speculation about its possible human origin. However, not everyone was convinced. Skeptics pointed out the lack of concrete evidence linking specific earthquakes to human activity. Many prominent scientists and geologists continued to affirm that earthquakes are natural occurrences, caused by the shifting of tectonic plates beneath the Earth's surface. The controversy extended to the political arena as well. Some politicians used the seismic manipulation theory to criticize their adversaries, accusing them of manipulating the environment for their own ends. These accusations often lacked substantiating evidence, but they added fuel to the fire of public mistrust and suspicion. In contrast, many government authorities, including those in countries accused of seismic manipulation, categorically denied the theory. They asserted that the speculation was based on misinterpretations of seismic data and misunderstandings of geological processes. The seismic manipulation theory also had significant repercussions for public trust. Many people began to question the transparency and honesty of their governments, wondering if vital information about seismic manipulation was being kept from them. This erosion of trust had broader implications, contributing to a climate of skepticism and conspiracy thinking that extended beyond the issue of seismic manipulation. Despite widespread denial and controversy, the seismic manipulation theory persists. It continues to provoke heated debate, generate media attention, and shape public discourse. The lack of definitive evidence or absolute conclusions keeps the theory in the realm of speculation, but it also allows for the possibility, however remote, that it might be true. As the story unfolds, the seismic manipulation theory continues to cast a long and unsettling shadow over our understanding of earthquakes and their potential human origins. The seismic manipulation theory, despite its contentious status, continues to leave a lasting mark on the landscape of modern culture, politics, and technology. Its influence is perhaps most evident in the public's relationship with authority and science, with the theory acting as a touchstone for broader concerns about transparency, power, and the manipulation of nature. In the realm of politics, the seismic manipulation conspiracy acts as a potent tool for political maneuvering and posturing. Politicians and governments around the world have found it expedient to wield the theory either as a weapon against opponents or as a shield against criticism. The theory has become deeply entwined with issues of national security, environmental policy, and geopolitical rivalry, making it a recurring theme in political discourse and strategy. In the sphere of technology, the seismic manipulation theory has spurred significant interest and investment in the field of seismology. Researchers and engineers are increasingly focused on developing sophisticated tools and methods to both understand and potentially control seismic activity. While the aim is ostensibly to protect populations and infrastructure from natural disasters, the prospect of such technologies also feeds into the narrative of the conspiracy, further complicating the issue. Culturally, the seismic manipulation conspiracy has become a symbol of the modern era's anxieties and suspicions. It reflects the public's fear of unseen powers that might be manipulating the world behind the scenes, and it taps into the deep-seated human desire to uncover hidden truths. The theory has found a place in popular culture, permeating literature, movies, and online discourse, and becoming a staple of conspiracy-themed entertainment. The seismic manipulation theory, then, is more than just a speculative idea about the origins of earthquakes. It is a lens through which we view our world, a narrative that shapes our understanding of power, knowledge, and the natural world. It reminds us of the potential dangers of unchecked technological advancement and the importance of transparency and accountability in science and politics. The lesson that remains from this theory is a cautionary tale about the fragile balance between human ambition and nature's power. It is a reminder that while we may strive to control our environment, there are forces beneath our feet that remain unpredictable and potentially devastating. The seismic manipulation conspiracy, whether fact or fiction, underscores the vital need for humility, respect, and responsibility in our interaction with the natural world. As we stand on the precipice of understanding the seismic manipulation conspiracy, we are left with more questions than answers. The ambiguity of the situation, the shroud of secrecy that surrounds the topic, and the lack of solid evidence only serve to deepen the mystery. While there is no definitive proof that earthquakes are being weaponized, the fact that this theory exists at all speaks volumes about our society's collective fears and anxieties. The suspicion of hidden forces at play, manipulating the elements to their own ends, reflects a broader concern about the misuse of technology and power. The seismic manipulation conspiracy taps into our fear of the unknown, the unseen, the uncontrolled. It raises valid questions about the moral, ethical, and environmental implications of our relentless pursuit of technological advancement. As we move forward, we must remember that with great power comes great responsibility. The ability to influence seismic activity, if it does exist, should not be taken lightly. It should be handled with the utmost respect for the balance of nature and the sanctity of life. But what if there is truth to the seismic manipulation conspiracy? What if earthquakes are being weaponized? What if the tectonic plates beneath our feet are not just shifting naturally, but are being deliberately manipulated? The thought is chilling, but it cannot be entirely dismissed. As long as these questions remain unanswered, the seismic manipulation conspiracy will continue to thrive, feeding off our collective unease and curiosity. In the end, the seismic manipulation conspiracy is not just about earthquakes. It is a parable of our times, a reflection of our deepest fears about the world we live in. It is a reminder that in our quest for knowledge and power, we must never lose sight of our responsibility to nature and to each other. It compels us to question, to probe, to seek out the hidden truths that lie beneath the surface of our reality. As we delve deeper into the enigma of the seismic manipulation theory, we find ourselves standing at the crossroads of science, technology, and geopolitics. We are left wondering about the lengths to which humans might go in their pursuit of power and the potential consequences of such actions. In the face of this uncertainty, we are reminded of the importance of vigilance, transparency, and accountability. So, as we step into an uncertain future, let's carry with us the lessons learned from the seismic manipulation conspiracy. And remember, the tremors we feel may not just be geological in nature, but could indeed be reverberations from the machinations of unseen forces. Thanks for listening. This has been Conspiracy Theories and Cover-Ups. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to support the show, subscribe to the Forbidden Knowledge Network on Patreon. Subscribe now.